Welcome to my world, bitch.
Welcome to the 166th episode of the Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast.
So boisterously paranormal.
My name is Jason Knight, host of the show, and with me, as always, is this guy.
That's right, always, bitch. Oscar Spector.
Producer extraordinaire and podcast co-host. Oscar, what's been going on, my friend? It's been a month.
That's right. This time for real, I haven't seen you in a month.
Yeah, nothing going on where you would come up or...
Right.
Yeah, it's been...
Yeah.
Kind of boring.
No, it's fine. We're 40 plus people now. What the fuck do we...
40-year-old plus.
Like 40 plus, yeah, 40 higher. 40 and higher.
40-year plus people.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Gotcha.
And I don't know where I was going with that, but I did it. Anyway, I've been okay. There's something actually funny. Have you ever gone to a destination wedding?
I've never gone.
No, out of all your travels,
I know.
You go like 50 times a year to vacation stuff. So like when you visit the country or a cruise or something, and none of them were destination weddings.
Never a destination wedding.
You've never been invited? Have you ever been close by any chance?
Nope.
What?
Nope.
You know so many people.
Yeah, none of them. Maybe I just wasn't invited. I don't know.
Maybe that's...
Now I'm thinking about it. Wait a minute. What the fuck?
So now that I think back on it, because I've been invited before. This is my third time, and this just happens to be this third time I'm actually going. There's a destination wedding. I will be going. It'll be 5 days after this episode releases. That's it. So it'll be in May, and I'll be gone for 5 days. A 5-day thing.
Wow.
Obviously, the wedding's 1 day, but it's going to be 5 days. It's going to be all friends, basically. No family on my end. I mean, obviously... Our friend, the groom, is the one getting married, so obviously his family will be there. But, we all know them too, so like it's not like we don't know anybody. We all know each other on this one. So it's going to be just basically a vacation with friends.
And where are you going?
To Cancun.
Cancun?
Yeah, no, he's so white. He's Polish, by the way. And, Cancun is where we're going, although he is married a Mexican girl, so, but she's not from Cancun, as far as I know. Yes, I know her. Hi, Tanya. She's not going to listen to this. Who gives a shit? Anyway, and I'm going there for actually 6 days. I'm going a day early because I have a cousin that lives in Cancun, in the actual city proper, mind you. And he used to work one of the big hotels there. Obviously, everyone works there, I assume, at some point. I used to have other cousins that used to kind of all live together and work at one of the resorts. I forget which one. For years, they were like managers and cooks. They were all up in the business, but they moved back to their home states, except for one cousin, who I haven't seen in a long time. He's roughly my age. Can't wait to see him. We're going to hang out with him for the day before.
Nice.
So that's going to be my thing.
That's
I can't believe it. I'm going to a destination wedding before you. I really can't believe it.
And Cancun. I've never been to Cancun.
You've never been? Not that either?
I've never been to Cancun.
I was going to ask you for advice. You travel so often, Jay.
I've been to Cozumel a few times, and I've been to...
I've had that with a little hot cocoa. It's amazing.
Little Cozumel.
Yeah.
Little Cozumel with rice and beans. It's delicious.
Right.
And I've been to Playa del Carmen.
Okay. I never even heard of that one.
Carmen's Beach? Isn't that
what it is?
Yeah, to a place
beach
called...
of Carmen, if you want.
Yeah, a place called Xcaret on Playa del Carmen. This archaeological park. It was great.
I'll say word to that.
Yeah. But yeah, Cancun, as popular as it is, I've never been there.
Wow. And neither have you gone to Acapulco? That's another big one, right?
Acapulco. No, I've never been there.
I guess that's on the other side of the country. I'm not sure.
I don't even know.
I'm bad with that stuff. I definitely never been to the Baja side. I've never been to that little peninsula over California.
Baja, right.
Tijuana,
Baja,
right? Yeah, Tijuana. Never been there. But I've been to the middle parts.
Where was that one place?
What?
That we want to get T-shirts made?
Wow,
the name of the Mexican city.
Oh, it's not a city. It's a small town. The size of your block here.
Okay, everyone lower everything that you're doing. Turn down the volume on everything except this.
This was a TikTok trend for like a week.
Are you serious?
Where a lot of people would have their Mexican boyfriends or whatever tell them this name. It became like a little thing. What town name are you talking about, Jay?
The one that goes like Belangiligro.
Oh, that's really close. It's Parangarikutirimikwaro.
One more time, please. This is
Parangarikutirimikwaro.
Oh, it's so hot when you say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a fun one. That is a fun one. I would like to visit there one day.
I don't know if it's there anymore. That's, you know what I'm saying?
There. It just got up and left.
It just turned into something else. Or maybe it's a blooming city. I have no idea.
That's too funny.
I know that's in inland. It's in the inland parts. I just don't know where.
Got it. So there you're going to be 6 days with all your homies.
It's all-inclusive thing.
Oh.
So I'm going to get drunk a lot. I'm gonna swim a lot, I guess. I don't know.
Don't get drunk and swim. You might not come back.
Oh, I mean like that. That's for pool. And then the beach will be a separate thing entirely, I guess.
Got it. Okay.
I'm hoping.
Stay sober in the water.
Yeah.
Public service announcement, folks. Stay sober in the water.
That's so funny that you have nothing. So the reason I say that, because I've been invited 3 times by 3 different people, I mean, because, I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, and all of them are Polish. So maybe it's a Polish thing, because I have a lot of Polish friends. I grew up in a Polish neighborhood. It's possible that destination weddings is more of a Polish thing than I thought, and until right now I didn't think of it until now. That's a thing.
That is pretty strange.
Because you've never been invited to one, and
I don't have Polish.
I don't know if you guys know this, but Jay's a very gregarious man. He knows a lot of people. He's known a lot of people. Yeah. This is why I find it surprising that he's never been even invited to one before. But maybe because of my affiliation with Polish.
Maybe it's a Polish thing. Maybe it is. I don't have a lot of Polish friends. I will say that. Maybe that's what it is.
It's crazy.
Or people just don't like me that much where they want to be alone.
Right. It's possible. It's possible.
Whisked away with me for extended periods of time. I don't know. Yeah. I don't travel well with people, with other people.
Yeah.
I don't.
What about your family? Don't they count?
Oh, no, family counts. But, like, outside of family, like, I don't want to be bothered with people's bullshit. I want to go and do my own thing.
Yeah.
And that's it. So maybe people don't want to travel with me. I don't know.
I mean, I had fun with you when we traveled. I mean, it was for the SOS, but...
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. That's never happened. So,
are you saying you hated every minute we were out there in Nevada with you?
Not every minute.
Yeah.
A lot of minutes.
A lot of minutes,
Not every minute.
Right.
So Oscar Unbridled, no adult supervision. Do you have any crazy plans? You can visit.
I mean, I don't have adult supervision now, but
I would imagine there's remember the titty twister from Dusk Till Dawn?
Yes,
with the Cheech Marin. I imagine those are out there.
Cheech Marin, the one guy there's so many actors in that movie that were bigger, and you go with Cheech Marin. You go with the guy that has in 2 scenes, but George Clooney, who is the main actor. I mean.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's so funny. It's like that joke, that bit from the 2000s when they were talking about, have you seen that Jack Black movie, The Jackal? He's in one scene. Like he was just starting off. And the joke was that they're naming like super unknown roles of the... That's like, I remember I think Michael Cera did that joke. That's what it sounded like. Anyway, yes, I can't wait for... I don't know what it's like then. I have no idea what it's like.
That's awesome.
So I'm going to find out. And this is roughly... I mean, this is after most people's... spring breaks, but there might still be some fallout, right? I don't know.
I don't know. My family's spring break was late. We're going through it now. This is the week.
This is the week you're going through it. Yeah.
The last week of April we're in.
Yeah.
No, that's next week. So
I mean, I'll be going right after Cinco de Mayo as well. It's I think I'm going on the 5th or 6th. I'll be going around there. Yeah.
Crazy.
Don't ask me that. Actually, I don't remember dates. I'm not good with that, but it's around there.
That would be crazy to be down there on Cinco de Mayo.
I don't know. Well, I know for a fact that based on my cousins and people that my relatives, they don't give a shit about the holiday.
Yeah, you Cinco de Drinko.
Yeah, nobody does that.
Fuck off.
Nobody celebrates that down there.
Fucked.
Or if they do it like low key. It's not like a real thing.
No, it's just a stupid American thing.
Yeah.
Well, dude, have fun. You got to report back.
Of course I will.
For the show. The kind of shenanigans. I know some shenanigans you've gotten up to in the past.
Well, I know that for a fact that when I go out on vacation of any kind, even if it's for one day or whatever I do, for someone new or whatever, I tend to go off by myself a lot. So I'm going to see.
That's when the...
Well, that doesn't mean something crazy is going to happen. I'm just saying... I want to see what it's like being out there by myself.
Absolutely. Don't get fucking kidnapped, dude.
I'm not a kid. Adult napped.
That too.
I mean, I want to take a nap. I'm good with all that.
I'm good with it.
Yeah. I'll be like, dude.
Take my ass.
I'll be like, dude, I'm worth nothing. Like, what are you doing?
Totally way.
But if you ask the government for $1 million, just send me to El Salvador. They're not gonna give a shit. Yeah, I went there. I'm harnessing Dave a little bit. So
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
yeah,
That's awesome. I do have something.
Yeah.
It's more of an apology. To the listeners.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I don't know, beginning of April, something like that. I was driving somewhere, kind of a long drive, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back. I want to listen to the first Long Island serial killer episode.
Okay.
I just wanted a recap of. Sometimes I do that. I listen, I critique, and so I went back to that particular episode. And when I was listening to it, I was interrupted by commercials. It had to be 30 times.
I told you about this before, yeah.
And then I remembered that you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So I have to apologize to listeners because that is not our intention. We usually have right at our break.
Right, when we call it a break, yeah.
Call it a break.
The opening.
I've been slipping one extra commercial in.
Yeah.
And then at the very end of the show.
Yeah.
After the end credits, there's a commercial and then usually outtakes.
Yeah.
That's it. So I noticed that on the Long Island serial killer episode, like 30 times I was interrupted. It totally took me out of the story.
Yeah.
Then I remembered you had mentioned that a long time ago, and I completely forgot about it.
Yeah.
So I went back from fucking episode 1.
Really?
It took me all of probably 3 weeks, pretty much all of this month. And I cleaned up all the commercials and put in what should be there.
Right.
So I want to encourage listeners, first, again, I'm sorry, that fucking sucked. And if you listened to that and endured it, I thank you. That's not what it was intended. So it's all been corrected now. What happens is our hosting company, it must
have automated everything.
It
sounds like what it's
exactly.
like.
It just used AI or something to try to find little breaks, what it thought were intelligent breaks in the podcast episode, and then just slipped in commercials.
Right.
And like if we right there, that AI would slip something in.
Right.
That motherfucker. So it should all be cleaned up. The proper amount. There's going to be commercials. I mean, we can make a little coin doing this. That's great.
Right.
But nothing like it was.
Got it.
So it should all be cleaned up now. So go back and listen to all the old episodes. You should be okay.
That's crazy. That is a surprising, awesome thing. That's a lot of work, by the way.
Oh, it sucked.
Oh, yeah.
It fucking sucked.
I know.
Should be okay now.
That's great because, I go back sometimes and listen to old episodes. That's when I told you that would make us really annoying. But I thought that it was either intentional, not that you put them in yourself, or that it's part of some program that we can't get out of or something. I thought it was something like that.
No, we could, and I went and, like everything was switched to auto ad insert. I've never done that before. I always manually
I think when they added that thing after the fact, they must have just installed it as something that was automated.
Just turned it on.
Right, it was on when it became a feature.
Yes.
And you never noticed it.
It had to be what it is.
Something like that. Yeah,
So that's something I will be conscious of, and every once in a while I'll go back and listen, or at least visually open up a podcast episode and look at the ads, and if it's flooded, I just have to correct it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I do like our hosting, Spreaker.
Yeah.
They do a lot of cool stuff for podcasters and things. That was just one that
that sounds...
I missed. I didn't catch it.
I wonder how... obviously this was years ago. I wonder when they actually started. I wonder how much of a problem this is. I guess I haven't heard about it from other podcasters. I don't know many of them personally, of course, but I never heard of it before until now.
Who knows, man? Maybe these bigger podcasts have someone who's managing ads, who looks at ads all the time, who optimizes. We don't have that kind of manpower or time. So...
Oh. And I often don't listen to our shows like right away after I don't do that myself.
Right.
I do it when I'm researching our old stuff. Sometimes, it's not like every time. Yeah. So I get it.
So that's fixed.
Okay, cool. That's great to know.
That's what I had.
Awesome. No, that's great.
That
is great news. That's awesome. That's awesome. One final thing is that, I mentioned before in the past 2 shows, I think, that I've been doing Uber Eatsing as a way to make money and eat dinner. And
live.
Something crazy happened. I mean, not all crazy. Maybe on paper, I don't know how to, because it wasn't crazy. I didn't feel anything. Oh. So it's one of those things.
All right. So it piqued my interest.
I was in the northwest side of Chicago. One of my favorite places to start because I like, they pay more. Rich people are up there. I like it more. Today I made like 40 in 3 hours. Pretty good. Or 2 hours? I don't remember. Anyway, I was up somewhere, Deerfield, Northbrook, who knows where I was. And I was at, they have 4 lanes over there, 3 lanes at least, on some of those roads. And you could go 40, 45, right? And I was parked at a red light or stopped at a red light. There was a car next to me. Ours went green. I always take my time. I don't immediately just go boom.
Yeah, the same way. Yeah.
So I like to take my time. Fuck it. Who gives a shit? That's how I feel. Like, just get there when I get there. I start going. The guy's ahead of me by like a half a car length. And some guy missed or didn't pay attention and ran the red light, hit him hard.
Ooh.
Hard. They both, boom, like flew off like shrapnel from each other. That's how much the impact hit. It was like one of those bounce-offs things. Right in front of me, nothing happened to my car because the guy wasn't next to me, got hit, not me.
Wow, are you lucky?
If he wasn't there, the guy would have zoomed past me because I was going probably slow enough or he would have just zoomed past me or maybe he would have hit me. Who knows? Whoa. But it happened and I was like, oh shit. And I continued driving. I didn't like,
oh,
well, there was shrapnel on the floor that I ran over, like shrapnel and, glass and shit. And I just kept driving because I was dropping off a delivery. I just like kept going and like, and forgot to think about, no, the worst part is I forgot that this was a story.
Wow.
Like this happened over a month ago, Jay. I forgot to tell anybody about this. That's what's bugging me.
It's such a big city thing, I think. That's such a Chicago reaction, I would say. Okay. It's like a large city thing.
Am I a psychopath?
Like, no, it's just another thing.
Yeah. This has happened before. It's just never been so close while I'm driving. It usually happens like a block away as you're approaching maybe, and that's okay, So maybe that's what it was. Maybe it's a city thing. I
think city dwellers like ourselves just get desensitized and numb to so many things.
Yeah.
Nothing really shocks or surprises us.
All I did was go like, oh. And then I just kept
like, damn!
Yeah.
Well, gotta go.
I should have just rolled down the window and said, you can't park here.
That would have been an asshole move.
Yeah, that would have been too much.
Just roll the window, goddamn!
Yeah.
Keep driving. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's just nothing surprises us anymore.
Yeah, okay. I mean...
Glad you weren't hurt, though, dude, for sure.
I know. I was very lucky.
Who knows? If you would have mashed on that pedal just a little bit harder off the green, that could have been you.
100%.
So say a prayer and keep moving, I guess.
Obviously, should be said, I wonder how many people would have thought of their safety and stopped for that. I don't know. I guess I didn't do that. This is the test, and I didn't do that. So is that psychotic a little bit?
No, because now I have... Oh, this is going to be a long intro. Fuck. I might as well just pour the whiskey.
Yeah, please.
Because this is one... I kind of regret this one because it has to do with my son.
Yeah.
The whiskey we're drinking today is the McTavish whiskey that we've opened on a previous show. This is that Scottish... the Scottish whiskey aged in bourbon... bourbon whiskey finished in Scotch casks, excuse me. And Graham McTavish, this is his whiskey. He's an actor. He's been in like Game of Thrones and a bunch of movies and things. And when we opened this, I feel like it was around Christmas time or something. Mm-hmm. You loved this bottle.
I do love this one.
This is the bottle that...
well, I don't love the bottle. I mean, the bottle's fine. I love the whiskey.
Yeah. This is the bottle my cousin Corey donated to the show. So thank you, Corey. There's still some in this bottle, so you got to come finish it with me. But there we go. Let's cheers to this one.
Yeah.
Then let me tell you my story.
Yes, please.
My non-sensitive, unsensitive...
Desensitized story?
Desensitized story. It's a short story, but that smoke. I love that smoke taste. So we were in New Orleans. Yeah. Daytime, fucking 11 o'clock in the morning, right? Walking down the street. Dude, guy just fucking sprawled out, middle of the sidewalk. I mean, face to the concrete.
Okay.
Dirty as shit, smelly as shit.
Okay.
And I go, son, he just might be dead. Keep walking. And we just walked right around him and kept going.
Really? He looked that bad?
Oh, yeah. There's a good chance he might have been dead.
Yeah.
And we just...
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you think you did some damage there?
I don't know, man. Like,
you never know about kids, what they remember.
Oh, that's right.
I remember the weirdest shit that my parents would be like, how do you remember that?
What was I supposed to do? Kneel down, check his pulse, give him mouth to mouth? I'm not going to fucking do that.
Right?
You know?
And then when there's like the middle ground there would be calling 911 or something, right?
Yeah, I did it.
No, I'm saying I probably wouldn't either. I probably wouldn't either.
And
I'm just saying.
I think I may have said after we passed him or something like that's why you stay in school, or I made a tried to make a teachable moment.
Cautionary tale.
Cautionary tale. There you go. I may have said something like that, but I always kind of thought. I think back on that, I'm like, did I really react?
That could have been an error, you think?
Maybe could have been a real positive teaching moment if I would have intervened or done something, in front of my son. But I didn't. I kind of...
Yeah, you're right. It could have been one of those two. I guess, that's a way to lament that in a different way.
Yeah, don't send me hate mail. I feel guilty about it enough.
Although if you give the date, maybe we'll find someone that knew the person. Like, hey, you were there? No, I'm kidding. Don't do that.
That was you.
Why would you make a paper trail out of that? Yeah, that is nuts. Well, again, that made me think way after I drop off that order after that car crash, I thought of like, did I see? I mean, it looked like a violent crash. I didn't stop to check to see if everyone was okay. I didn't. Until hours after, and I didn't think of it. That's that crazy?
Yeah, I get it though.
I'm just saying, that's insane to me. It's insane logically, but not, emotionally, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, me too. No, yeah. Just like the New Orleans thing made sense at the time.
Right. But yeah, you don't want to stand by me, your son, and give him a horrible memory of some dead person, right? Yeah, I get it.
Maybe, maybe.
I probably would have said he's drunk, but
no.
But I get it.
On that note,
but don't drink and drive, kid. Yeah,
right.
No, yeah. Okay, well, that happened. Those are our updates.
Those are the updates.
Send your hate mail to sos/chicago@gmail.com.
Still no clue. Look, 8 years into it. Contact at chicagoghostpodcast.com.
What a shitty email.
Contact at chicagoghostpodcast.com.
The movie starring Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, I remember that movie.
Yeah, Contact.
That was an intro. We just got a hate. We got a hate review about our intros.
You got a hate review because they're too long.
Yeah.
Just skip the intro. I don't understand.
Skip it.
Skip the intro.
It's our show. Fuck off.
Right. I mean, I don't see the problem. If anything, we're saying shit that'll implicate us in some future crime, honestly. But let's take a break, shall we?
Let's do that. Listeners, welcome back to the show. Well, the lights are turned down low. The ceremonial candle is lit.
Lit as fuck.
And the drinks are flowing. Let's start this show. So I'm excited tonight. I get to sit back and be a passenger princess today.
That's right. You're excited to do nothing.
This is your show. This is
adulthood in a nutshell. All we're excited for is planning, preparing, thinking about doing nothing. The next time we could do nothing.
Fuck yes.
Dude, I love that feeling.
That's adulting.
You know how amazing it is to just sit there and do nothing or play a game and do nothing? It's great.
It is. So I'm passenger princess. Oscar, take the wheel.
Oh my God, that's so bad. Okay. I'm going to take the wheel now because you shouldn't be driving. Before we begin, you should know that this story was told here on the SOS as a bonus episode as part of our Patreon subscription a few years back. Unlike Sad Satan, which is another throwback that we did recently on this show, 3 shows ago? Ooh. I don't remember. But this year. It was this year. You know. I took, unlike Sad Satan, I took nothing out of the original script and instead have only added in some details, and I changed the way I did the ending. I did reread much of the source material and some new things, mainly just to keep it fresh in my head. And as I am wont to do, we will be going to another part of the world, and because I like to do that. You like to stay in the States?
You
I like
do. Historically, your shows tend to jump.
I love going around the world. World hopping, country hopping.
You're right.
I love it so much. Anyway, but make sure to pay attention to the pictures that will be provided for you on the show notes as the story unfolds. I will be giving you points in the story where those pictures are correlating to what I'm saying. They're all there now. You can look at them all now, but I'm just letting you know that the order matters in the story that I'm going to give you guys here today. One last piece of news, not news, but warning. I'm going to butcher a language here. I'm going to give it a shot anyway, but I'm going to butcher some names really bad. I'm just going to say French is not my language at all. If it was Italian, I could probably get away with some stuff. Spanish, obviously. But French, that is not my cup of tea. But I will try regardless. So I'm just giving you an apology now.
Oui, no, no.
No. Right. Oui means yes, right?
Yes.
I think so. Oh, they'll have to go to the bathroom, I think.
Damn it, you beat me to it. It was a dad
That's
joke.
an old joke. That's an old
Dad
joke. Yeah, that's a dad joke. Yeah.
All right, I'll shut up.
No, you're good.
Oui, no, no.
So the story I have for you today is considered to be a legend of a bygone era. I'm talking centuries ago. Is that enough to be bygone? I think so.
Yeah.
Breaking down what a legend means in context to this topic makes it clear that it's not about some great action or a big battlefield. It isn't a famous king or a notorious killer. It is quite literally a story passed through the years and is regarded as part of history, though not really authenticated. You'll see what I mean. It's mainly oral history. There were contemporary publications and visual aids, but for the most part, we are going old school in the way this story flourished, by word of mouth. What makes this legend special is that it involves a cryptid. Cryptids are beloved here on the SOS.
Absolutely.
Especially here with Jay. He loves that shit. What I have enjoyed researching this particular cryptid is that I discovered that this story has a beginning and an ending. It's really rare to have an ending to these kind of stories. The legend is closed-circuited. It doesn't mean that there aren't any unanswered questions along the way, just that there was a, shall we say, satisfying ending to the whole thing. An identifiable ending to a story like this is rarer than us here being able to capture a Mothman alive. That's how rare it is. But let's begin. Allow me to introduce the legend of the Beast of Gévaudan, or La Bête de Gévaudan. La Bête. Bête is beast in French.
I like the way that is the cool. La Bête de Gévaudan.
So the actual sentence goes, Permettez de moi de raconter à la légende de la Bête de Gévaudan. That's the actual sentence in French.
Wow.
But fuck me if I'm going to say that
sexy,
right.
bro.
I tried. So this is a French legend that we're talking about. La Bête de Gévaudan, or the Beast of Gévaudan, took place in modern-day Artois, next to the department of Lozère. Department is what the French call their regions, or their states, the way we call our states here. That's what they call their regions. And Lozère is one of 96 departments that total the country of France. This is French countryside, where the Loire River and the Margeride Mountains of south-central France are situated. Hiking, traveling, and farming is fairly common in these regions today. There's an ecology museum in the area, as well as a park that contains a rare herd of European bison. So, that's funny.
Good eating.
I had it once.
Good eating. I've eaten bison.
Considering how extinct they are or becoming, it's probably not a good thing that I ate a bison burger once.
I have too.
Yeah.
Can't be that extinct if we're eating burger. I didn't like it.
I think we ate them during a time where, like, you can't eat them today, maybe.
I don't know. I think you could.
You think you could?
I'm pretty sure.
All right, listeners, let us know. Anyway.
Contact at ChicagoGhostPodcast.com.
Perfect way to put that in. Yes, excellent. SOS-radio@gmail.com. So, during the Second World War, the French resistance used the Margeride Mountains as a stronghold and managed to help delay German reinforcements that were due north after the D-Day landings. So this area, has some history to it.
Yeah.
This story takes place in an even older time, before even Jay was born.
Bro.
Dude, I know, hard to believe.
Come on.
Let's time travel to the 1700s, or the 18th century.
It's definitely before I was born.
I admit to that. I admit this is before you were born. I admit to it. Marie Antoinette lived and died in the 18th century, and some of the many methods of torture and execution was commonplace for mobs of people to watch and cheer. We did an episode on several torturing techniques. If you're interested, don't at me about the episode number. I don't remember.
I don't either.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, it's literally called torture.
I think so, yeah. France had a population of 19 million at the time, which was immense compared to most countries in those days. 19 million might as well be a billion to a lot of countries back then.
Wow.
Can you think of it that way? France had a lot of farming land, which became an issue when the monarchy and rich landlords discouraged advancement in farming techniques, and when working families passed down their birthrights, land became a problem as division broke out. This was probably the biggest political upheaval at that time for the peasants, between the peasants and the rich people. Basically what it was. Basically today also. So, while French as a language existed, the common folk, the peasants, spoke something I'm not familiar with called Occitan. It is considered to be a love language, like French, and is still spoken in the same southern France region as well as Monaco and Catalonia. So it's a very region-specific language. Have you ever heard of that language, Occitan?
I haven't. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I didn't even sample it, so I don't even know how it sounds like, but apparently it's a thing. So this reminds me of something crucial about this time and place. The good news is that there were records kept on who the people were, what they did, who were they related to, and how they died. It gives us solid dates and reporting, but where the complications sometimes came up in the research is when the common tongue bumped heads with the aristocratic French. So when French and Occitan bumped heads in some of these translated works, it became a problem to figure out what they meant or what people mean. So a lot of people have dubious records or dubious interpretations of what actually happened. So even though they wrote down a lot of things, not everything was verifiable all the time. Okay. But I'm not gonna. That's the only time I'll be mentioning. There's no solid examples I'm gonna give you guys. But that's roughly the biggest problem with this. But let's get into it. The region that is called Lozère today was called Gévaudan in the 1700s. Hence the Beast of Gévaudan. The first picture I'm introducing on the show notes is of a map of Gévaudan in 1851, which pretty much shows how everything was laid out 100 years prior. This region was even more of a countryside at that time than it is now, where many towns, parishes, farms of both animal and vegetation covered the land. It was not uncommon to send herds of sheep and cattle up the mountain for its spring and summer pastures once winter ended. This, coupled with the fact that news traveled much slower than today, especially when it came to epidemics of any kind, made Gévaudan a perfect home for our cryptid. The Beast of Gévaudan was a ruthless and huge creature that terrorized, maimed, and killed in an area of roughly 300 square miles, many times in the Marguerite Mountains. When I say killed, I don't mean livestock. As far as I know, it never took livestock. This beast hunted humans, primarily easier prey like women, children, and lone men, and in some examples, avoiding adult males altogether, like purposely avoiding groups of people.
That's creepy.
Yeah. This lasted for years, from June of 1764 to basically June of 1767. The Beast of Gévaudan claimed its territory as the superior apex predator. The best way I can describe the Beast of Gévaudan, it's simply a bloody great wolf. There are many conflicting reports, but a regular or normal-sized wolf it was not. Most people describe the beast as a wolf-dog hybrid, or a wolf-striped hyena hybrid, or just simply a very, very large, strangely colored wolf. I should say right here that most wolves at that time were gray wolves. So that's why it's strange colored, because anything not gray, it's weird to them.
Got it.
So it kind of reminds me of a dire wolf, personally, the way people describe this thing.
Yeah,
dire
that's
wolf
what I was thinking.
Check your Game of Thrones, exactly. I don't know if that's accurate, but Game of Thrones is the first wolf I imagine.
That, and then I jumped to Skinwalker Ranch.
Skinwalker, that's another great one.
Big, huge story about a dire wolf there. Yeah,
exactly. So we'll get into some of what historians and the scientific community had to say about the origins of this beast, but on the whole, no one believed it wasn't at least part wolf, at least a little bit. Much like wolves, it killed its prey by going after the neck or the head. The beast was described as tall and lean, with the size of a calf or even a horse. I don't know if adult horse, but I imagine yes. Its coat was reddish-gray with a long black stripe on its back. Its tail was described as panther-like, with a prominent tuft at the end and much longer than a typical wolf. The beast's claws were described as talons, leaving ominous paw prints behind that someone could drink water from after a rainfall.
This is deep.
That's pretty deep, right? It reminds me of the T-Rex footprint in Jurassic Park, when it was raining, and it felt like that. You could feed a family right there. Right.
That's a big paw. It's a
big enough paw.
Heavy as well.
Yeah, it must be heavy, right?
Deep into the earth.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Interesting.
Besides the size, all of these descriptors fit a wolf. And here's the few things you should know about this time and era before continuing. Wolf attacks were common in Europe, and it was a huge problem during the 18th century. There were tens of thousands of wolf attacks. That's a lot. It feels like France at some point had a toad problem, and they released a bunch of snakes to take care of it, but then had a snake problem, and then they released a bunch of wolves to take care of them, but then they couldn't release anything to kill wolves.
So they released the Beast of Gévaudan.
That's how it feels like. It feels like they had such a huge wolf problem that's how they, China, that story about China trying to kill those particular insects that were attacking their crops, so they released all these birds, and then the birds became a huge problem in China. It's like a real problem, like a real historical. It's like that, just like that. I'm kidding, of course. It's just a funny thing, but I don't know why. But they had a huge wolf problem. A realistic reason why France was having this carnivorous dilemma may have been the hunting of prey that wolves could no longer hunt for. Or maybe a series of epidemics that hurt the livestock for a short period of time that caused them to attack humans so much, or something like that.
Okay.
Could be a lot of reasons. Wolf hunters, was a sought-after profession, especially in France. Other than military exploits, hunters were heroes in the 18th century, the Jim Bros of the era.
The Jim Bros.
Yeah. The fact that wolf attacks were commonplace and that they tend to hunt in packs, though not all of them, led historians today and several of the hunters and royal members at that time to believe that the beast just wasn't one beast. That much like regular wolves, the beast was either part of a pack or it was a pack. More on this later, maybe? We'll see. One thing I want to address is the reddish-gray fur. I think part of the spectacle from the Beast of Gévaudan is how unusual people found its color, maybe confusing the creature for another, like a hyena, for example. Many of the finer details of the beast were skewed by the multitude of witnesses describing it in different ways. A lot of people described it differently. For example, some said that the beast had cloven hooves, or possibly that at the end of one of its 4 limbs was tipped with a hoof. Others claimed that it only resembled hooves because its claws were so heavy. The next illustration in the show notes is from that period of time, and here's a translation of what's written. Quote, "This is a figure of the monster capitalized, which is ravaging Gévaudan. This animal is the size of a young bull. It attacks by preference women and children. It drinks their blood, cuts off their head, and takes it away. 2,700 livres is promised to whoever kills this animal," unquote.
So, and again, this is in order in the show notes.
Yes.
This is we'll call it like a newspaper article. Almost.
Yeah, it's like a wanted poster almost in the newspapers kind of thing.
Wow, that's quite a report.
Yeah.
That's a pretty sensational report.
It's very sensational, right? The whole cut off their heads thing is too much.
Drink the blood, cut off the head, women, children. I love it. I'm in.
Right? That bounty translates to roughly $27,234 today.
Oh, okay. Nice. Good.
Pretty.
I was kind of wondering.
Yes. I know you would be. So, oh my God, side note on this sidebar. I tried to look up because I was like, oh, maybe I should update the amount quality to today because this was a few years ago we did the show.
Yeah.
And whatever program I used to find out the original value of the livre of France, I couldn't find it anymore today.
Oh, wow.
It was so hard. So I stopped. I was like, I'll just keep the original number that I must have.
What is it? Is it the euro today? Yeah,
no,
right?
It's not enough to call it's something else. It's before even what...
I meant...
It's even before francs. Because francs was the original French currency before euro.
Right, but it's euro now.
Yeah, it's euro now.
Yeah.
But that's not enough to say that's accurate either.
Yeah, true.
Right? So I was trying to find the original. Like, it's so hard. I don't know why. But I kept the original number.
Hey, nice trying to look for it.
Right. But I didn't try that hard either. Let's not get too excited.
Fair enough.
But I just went to a few sites. Anyway, as with many things in life, we don't know for sure when the sightings and attacks really began. But I'm going to start with the first reported incident. I don't have an exact name and date for this one, But in early June of 1764, a young woman was tending cattle in the Mercois forest near the town of Lagogne, in the eastern part of Gévaudan. She saw the beast run at her. She described the beast like a wolf, yet not a wolf. That's how she said it. Luckily for the young woman, she was only injured, and the bulls in the herd charged the beast and managed to keep it at bay.
Wow.
The beast tried to attack again, but the young woman lived to tell her tale. I don't know if any of the cattle perished. That's not in the report. Here's the first fatal attack, though. On June 30th, 1764, a 14-year-old shepherdess, Jeanne Boulet, was tending to a flock of sheep when the beast killed her. The local parish kept a record of her burial, and handwritten note said, quote, "In the year 1764, on the 1st of July, was buried Jean Boulet without the last sacraments, having been killed by the ferocious beast, present Joseph Vigier et Jean Riboul," unquote. That's the next photo, folks.
Wow.
Yep.
By the beast.
The beast, right? They're name checking this
It's
guy.
not a wolf. It's the beast. So
right,
there's a
and they
difference to
all
these
got
people.
used to it. They all got immediately, 1964, right when the attacks happened, the beast, always.
Wow.
Very strange. Or very, I don't know, very accurate. Who knows? Depending on what you read.
Very deliberate.
Deliberate,
Like
yes, that's better.
To them, this is a thing. This is a real
I mean, this is like Twister Country or like an earthquake. It's a big deal they have to worry about today, right? They must tell everyone immediately, right? Depending on what you read, the total number of attacks could be as high as over 600,
Holy shit.
with 500 deaths attached. On the lower end, the claim goes anywhere between 60 to 100 children and adults killed. Now, it's not that high. I was fortunate enough to find a reliable website that collected all of the reports and made a timeline, which is the most cohesive compilation of the information that I'll be using and that I believe. The site has been copyrighted by France along with other countries to protect authorship and history. So I find it pretty legit.
Okay.
Let's go through some of this data, which again occurred in the region of Gévaudan from 1764 to 1767. Right off the bat, the Beast of Gévaudan managed to go on a killing streak, starting with Jean Boulet in the summer until October of 1764, killing 9, mainly children from ages 12 to 15 years old. With certain creatures, you could depend on seasonal attacks, but not wolves and certainly not the beast. Winter did not stop any attack. Winter didn't stop any attack the way a contagion would. 1764 had a total of 18 deaths, 5 wounded, and only 4 managed to get away unscathed. Some of the peasants were unarmed, and their ages were educatedly guessed. 1765 was the worst year. On January 12th, 5 boys and 2 girls were almost killed on the same day. 1765 had a total of 55 deaths, 28 injured, and 56 near misses. And like I said, it was the worst year by far. 1766 had 18 deaths, 13 wounded, and 5 scrapes. And the final year, 1767, had 21 deaths, left 7 wounded, and 10 got away without injury. The grand total of casualties from my source has a list of 75 untouched, 53 wounded, and 112 deaths.
That's still a ton.
That's still a lot. Yeah, that's still a lot for an area with farm people, basically. Farmlands and parishes.
Oh, true.
Right?
Yeah, this
When you
isn't
think
a
of it.
city of 1 million people.
It's not. It's not Paris at all. It's nothing like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So something is definitely happening here.
Right. Might as well be an epidemic to them, right? That's how.
Man.
Must be a disease. As close to a disease as you can get when the death toll is this high, right? Many sources believe that the likeliness of unreported attacks is very high, but we don't know what the real number could be.
Right,
right. The number is definitely higher, but unknown. Who knows how many more victims there were? The next picture in the show notes is of something written in 1764 relating to the following. A legal document from the parish records in a village called Roclay, God, I hope I'm saying that right, said the following about one of the many victims. Quote, "On the 30th day of the month of September in the year 1764, Magdalene Maurras was buried, the daughter of the late Jean and Pages, from Pierrefiche. She was about 12 years old and staying with her uncle, John Baptiste Maurras, from a place called Tot. in this parish. Her body was found on the 29th day of the month, gnawed on the neck and the breast by the ferocious beast, which has been ravaging through this diocese for 5 months. It ripped her throat out when she was coming back to herd her uncle's cattle homeward at 4:30 in the evening. The rest of her body, which was lacking an arm, ripped off and consumed by the said beasts, was laid in the cemetery of this parish of Rocle in the tomb of the ancestors of her father. Present at this were Jean-Pierre Bout, I'm not sure, Pierre Martin, and the son of the late Antoine from the place called Tot, all of them illiterate. I made these inquiries the priest at Aubignac, unquote.
Wow, all of them illiterate. We got to put that in there.
I think he put that up because he is writing for them. I think that's why he's explaining why he's like their
spokesperson.
Yeah, I guess so. Their notary or something. I don't know.
So, is there is there ever a reference to like a fucking werewolf with this goddamn thing? I mean, like ripping out the throat and attacking. Well,
this is probably before werewolves were a thing, right?
Lycanthropy? I think that.
I don't know how old.
That goes back forever. I think the story of
man you're about that old. Do you remember how? Okay.
Drink a whiskey. But that's kind of what I'm thinking of too, as well. Yeah. It's like a werewolf. Kind of situation.
I imagine that's easy to.
It's because it seems really intelligent.
It does seem intelligent. Yeah, you're right. Well, we'll see. Because I do have more examples. Let's see how intelligent this guy really sounds. This guy, this thing. Yeah. The next picture in the show notes is of a grave. The inscription reads, "Here was devoured by the beast, Carabal Gaillon, June 13th, 1765. This is one of, or maybe the last remaining grave with headstone that has survived the centuries as connected to the Beast of Gévaudan." So it's the last thing we can see today. Victims of the beast sometimes had their arms and legs ripped out, though not all at once. A few of the victims had been decapitated, which is supremely unusual for a wolf or any animal to do, even if they wanted to.
That's a good point.
This is a good time for a little theorizing. There are several examples of missing limbs when the beast attacks, which makes sense for a hungry or an angry animal. What doesn't make sense is that wolves typically travel in packs, and I find it hard to believe that the beast alone was satisfied with an arm here and a leg there, much less if there were others accompanying it. The decapitations, which were featured prominently on bounty posters and newspapers, makes it seem either false reporting that amplified fear in the area, or that a person was doing it post-mortem. What do you think?
The post-mortem thing would be pretty fucking macabre.
Pretty macabre, yes. But also, they did torture people in front of masses of people, so...
Oh, true. Yeah, they had a stomach for a lot more back then.
Or a lot different, let's say.
Yeah.
They probably couldn't breathe our air the way we are.
True.
True.
I was looking at the picture that as you were talking, and so you kind of caught me off guard there. But I'm not sure.
Yeah,
it's effed up either way.
Well, that's the point. Is that a lot of these bodies are more intact than they should be if there is a pack. So kind of dispels maybe that there's a pack traveling with the beast.
It's true.
Or if there is a pack that he's away from them a lot of the times when he's hunting. It's one or the other. Right.
Which I feel doesn't happen. Like I'm not an expert on
wolves right.
and how they pack and hunt and things, but I would assume.
I tried studying for it, but all the classes were filled.
I'm assuming that's not the way it happens. But
yeah, right. So it's a little. That's why I brought it up now. Something to think about, folks. People were afraid, and not just in the south of France, but the whole country and others in Europe as well. Wolf attacks, though usually normally sized and with gray fur, were common in many other places too. England had a big problem with this too, by the way. The next two images were the first depictions published in newspapers to help identify the beast. Since violent attacks is adrenaline-fueled and fast-paced, it was difficult to get anything accurate. Because of this and the accounts of specific attacks, publications in the 18th century focused on showing the beast in action. Quote, the rampage of the Beast of Gévaudan was one of the first international news stories, first breaking in the Courrier of nearby Avignon it was quickly taken up by the papers in Paris and from there spread abroad. A German print from September 1764 shows the beast looking more like a quadrupedal kangaroo than a wolf or a hyena, attacking an improbably well-dressed man in a rather Teutonic-looking landscape, unquote. Check the show notes for that photo. That kangaroo is... I don't think that's what the beast looked like, but it's a fun drawing.
It is, yeah.
Published in Paris, the next pic depicts the goriness of the beast. A lot of just pure violence to kind of harness that fear. That's the next photo for you guys. A famous poster of the time described the beast like this, quote, reddish brown with dark rich stripe down the back, resembles wolf/hyena, but as big as a donkey. Long gaping jaw, 6 claws, pointy upright ears, and supple furry tail. Mobile like a cat and can knock you over. Cry more like a horse neighing than a wolf howling, unquote. That's how they describe it.
Or a chimera. Like this is a combination.
Right. It sounds make-believe as fuck.
Whoa.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A series of engravings made it into pieces about the beast that showed its ferocity, but also how people defended themselves and attacking the vile creature as well. It is the 10th photo in the show notes. It's the next one. It was a bleak time for the people of Gévaudan, a terrifying time. However, that didn't stop the people's resilience to the beast and the amazing acts of bravery that propped the region and the country up. In 1764, Jean Jouvet, I'm really mispronouncing this, made a valiant attempt to keep the beast from killing her son. It is said that she jumped on the back of the beast after taking her son's head in its mouth. Though she managed to wrestle her child free, he did not survive the attack. But Jean was made a national heroine, and a print was made in her honor and is in the show notes.
It is. I was just looking at it. It's a cool picture.
It's a cool, right?
The mother looks like a woman I know, a friend, a buddy's wife.
Really?
Yeah.
You gotta tell me offline.
Yeah.
Off air.
It's a cool picture, though.
Okay. All right. Now I'm curious. See, now you got me curious. Anyway, continuing. During the 4 years, bounties were offered from several places, and hunters took to the countryside, muskets in hand. Quote, on October 8th, 1764, hours after a mauling, the beast was seen at Chateau de la Baume, stalking a herdsman. Hunters followed the animal into the estate's woods and flushed the animal into the open. The hunters shot a volley of musket fire into the creature, but after a single fall, the beast rose and ran off. Even children were celebrated for taking on the beast. On January 12, 1765, the beast attacked 10-year-old Jacques Portefaix and a group of 7 friends ranging from ages 8 to 12. However, Portefaix led a counterattack with sticks, driving off the creature. The children were rewarded by Louis XV, wow. And Portefaix was given an education paid by the crown, unquote.
No shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a crazy story.
That is cool.
I got that one from history.com. That was a fun story. I imagine that scene of the hunters shooting the beast as similar to those cattle ranchers in Skinwalker Ranch. How they describe shooting this great wolf over and over without it phasing, and then running away.
Absolutely.
Kind of reminds me of that.
That 100% is what I was thinking. I didn't want to interrupt.
I knew you were. Yep. But I also knew it was coming up in the sentence here.
Perfect.
So, yeah. The hunters that injured but failed to kill the beast on October 8, 1764, was spearheaded by a man named Captain Duhamel. This is not how you pronounce it, but I've decided I can't pronounce his name right, so I'm just going to say Duhamel. Fuck that. Anyway, spearheaded by a man named Captain Duhamel, along with his dragoons from Clermont. They, as well as other alpha dog hunters that visited Gévaudan, were quite unpopular with the people. You think they would be celebrated, but they weren't. They tended to trample and destroy crops and refuse payment for lodgings with local families when billed. Captain Duhamel in 1764 was not seen as a saving grace, but he did provide a detailed drawing of what he says the beast looked like. Check the show notes. Duhamel described the beast as having the chest of a leopard, the legs of a bear, and the ears of a wolf. He believed the beast was a kind of hybrid, possibly originating from a lion. Kind of sounds like a Greek mythological creature to me.
Right, the chimera.
Exactly, exactly right. His description of the beast is what's written in the next photo in the show notes. That photo I mentioned.
And I hate to ask this, what were Duhamel's crew named? The
dragoons.
The dragoons. Dude, the dragoons sound like a good time, like a fun time.
Like they drink and they fuck, you know.
They sound awesome.
Yeah, they totally.
The dragoons. I want to be.
I'm telling you, they were the gym bros of the era. I'm telling you, they were exactly that. Exactly that. I said nothing wrong or inaccurate. Soon after, King Louis XV awarded those children for fending off the beast. The royal intervention commenced. I said before that 1765 was the worst year in the death toll, but it also served to stir the public outcry and take action. Quote, the children's heroics prompted the court of King Louis XV, to send royal hunters to destroy the beast. There was now a 6,000 livre bounty on the creature's head. The story of the beast, meanwhile, was spreading and covered in newspapers from Brussels to Boston. Yeah, becoming one of history's first media sensations, unquote. Oh. In case you're wondering, of course, 6,000 livre is the equivalent of roughly $60,520 today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice bounty.
Nice bounty.
Sure, for somebody, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, to these peasants, if they kill one of them, that's like forever. That's like $1 million to them.
Why did it take the crown so long to enact something like that?
You know, probably for a while they didn't believe it. You have to wait for a lot of reports. There's an actual problem. You know, I'm guessing this kind of thing takes time.
Red tape.
Red tape, maybe.
Bureaucracy.
Yeah, exactly. 3 weeks after the Portefaut child survived the beast, the king sent John Charles Marc Antoine Valmel de Nerval.
Fuck off.
I know. And his son, Jean-Francois.
And his son, Bill.
Bill. I wish. I would kill for a Bill in this story. Dude. Jean-Francois. To deal with the crisis. They arrived in Gévaudan on February 17th, 1765, bringing 8 bloodhounds trained on hunting wolves. Deneval was considered as one of the finest wolf hunters alive, having some 1,200 wolf notches on his belt.
Damn.
That's no slouch.
No.
Things did not go well for his respectability, however, because after 4 months of searching, Deneval turned up nothing, and he lost his contract with the court. As he was departing, he claimed that the beast was no wolf. He may have meant that since he was so good at tracking and hunting wolves that he should have encountered it, in the 4 months. Or he may have just been embarrassed, and said what he said to save face, but who can say?
Right.
It does kind of make it a little more spookier, right? He said that. On June 22nd, one day after the beast killed another 15-year-old girl near Sauzet and a 14-year-old boy, same day, the king's blunderbuss bearer, it's like the gun bearer.
Yes, the blunderbuss. Yeah.
The king's blunderbuss bearer and lieutenant of the hunt, all capital, that's a title, arrived at Gévaudan. His name was Monsieur Antoine de Bouterne. And he approached the hunting.
I wish you could see Oscar's
Dude,
face.
you can't.
Every time he says these names.
Fucking can't. Anyway. And he approached the hunting of the beast in a different way. He immediately began organizing hunters and common folk. Common folk, by the way, it's not a real word. I took that from George R.R. Martin. I'm just saying that. He immediately began organizing hunters and common folk to go forth in groups to kill any and all wolves. Not just one wolf, all of them. In the hopes that one of them will be the beast. Oh. It would take 3 months to find some results, but if we follow the events in 1765 in chronological order, something else happened that should be mentioned at this point. I'm talking about another great feat of bravery. On August 11th, 1765, 20-year-old Marie-Jeanne Vallée, so glad I can say that, and her little sister were crossing the river Deja when the beast came up behind her. As it reared up to attack, Marie-Jeanne, who had a bayonet attached to a pole, managed to spear the beast in the chest. According to her sworn testimony, the beast looked like an unusually large dog, and when it was stabbed, it raised its paw to the injury and cried out. The beast then rolled into the waters of the river, and Marie-Jeanne and her sister kept their lives. This incident led to a few things. Marie-Jeanne Vallée was named the Maid of Gévaudan officially, and a magnificent statue memorializing her bravery was erected in Auvers in 1995. It's
95? Wow.
It's the next picture in the show notes if you want to see the statue.
It's a cool statue.
It is a cool statue.
I didn't realize that was supposed to be a child. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, 20-year-old. Well, she's not a child.
Right, 20.
And back then, that's the middle age, you know. So.
She was an old spinster.
An old spinster. Point. She was yarding.
Good point.
She was done making kids and shit. Yeah.
You're not far off. I mean,
probably not. I don't know.
Especially with the beast running around. That's an ancient age, man.
Might as well. Do you have any advice for an old for a young whippersnapper? Like, what?
The fact that it supposedly grabbed its chest where it was stabbing.
Yeah.
That's why I keep going back to, like, this is like a werewolf. There's part human in there.
Or like clutching its pearls. My, you stabbed me. Right.
It was a little effeminate.
Right. It could be. You don't know. You know. It could be.
So strange, man.
Right. So her and her little sister were also ingrained into the mythology and, you know, the whole thing about Beast of Gévaudan in interesting ways. But I'm going to hold on to some of that info for now. Marie-Jeanne's counterattack led to another bad thing, or another funny thing. It led to humiliation for the hunters, royal or otherwise. Right. The idea that a young girl could defeat the beast before they could was seen as embarrassing. So they lit a fire under themselves and doubled their efforts, which led us to a possible win. Quote, on September 20th, 1765, Monsieur Antoine, as he was universally now known, killed his third and largest wolf, measuring 31 inches high, at the shoulder, 5 feet 7 inches long, and weighing 130 pounds. That's how it was written. I don't know what it means.
I feel like that's not that big. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I'm
kind of doing the measurements by hand from the floor.
By hand, because we're so experts.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The wolf was named the Wolf of Cizézou, after the nearby Abbey of Cizézou, someplace, I guess. Strangely, though, this shooting did not take place where the beast had ever killed anybody. And indeed, it had never been seen there previously. Monsieur Antoine stated officially, we never saw a big wolf that could be compared to this one. This could be the fearsome beast that has caused so much damage. The animal was identified as the culprit by attacked survivors who recognized the scars on its body inflicted by victims defending themselves. The wolf was stuffed and sent to Paris, where Monsieur Antoine was called a hero, receiving a large sum of money as well as titles and awards, unquote.
Something seems fishy. I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's a little fishy. The next two images in the show notes depicts Monsieur Antoine shooting the beast and that stuffed version that was shown in court, respectively. So, if you want to see renditions, they're not photographs, folks. No, there's no photography, but they were drawings.
Yeah, photography didn't exist.
Right, 100%, just letting you know. Game over, right? Well, no, because this happened in 1765, and there's still another 2 years of slayings. So, it should be noted that Monsieur Antoine's kill did stop the killings for a spell from late October to December 2nd. Of 1765. When the next attack happened, people thought that before the next attack happened, people thought that the beast was dead. They were cheering in the streets, probably, you know. Yeah. The attacks came back in full swing, but people didn't know what this meant. Were there always two beasts? Were they related, like from the same pack? Or were they strangers to each other, seeing as Antoine's wolf was one of the largest in recorded existence at that time, and was found in an area with no history of sightings and attacks? What accounts for the gap of attacks in late 1765? Was it the mourning period of the other wolf or something else? Despite all of this, the king and the royal court chose to ignore the new attacks. This is where they fuck up. They insisted that the matter has been resolved with Monsieur Antoine's musket, and as far as I know, personally, they did not lift a finger to help anyone anymore, as far as I could find.
Damn.
There was nothing I could find that may have given a better, more detailed reason for such a decision, but I don't exactly think it was politically motivated or laziness. It reminds me of Jaws, the movie Jaws, when the mayor wanted to reopen the beach after a tiger shark was caught. not knowing or wanting to know of any other bigger sharks in the water.
Right.
The human need to move on blinds people to the truth sometimes. That's roughly my thinking on it anyway.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Do you think that?
That makes sense.
Yeah. Right. Right. They hear all these reports. They send a hunter. The hunter kills a big-ass wolf. They're done, right? Makes sense to me. Regardless, the attacks continued. It wasn't until mid-June of 1767 that a hunt was organized by a local nobleman. During this hunt, a local hunter named John Chastel shot and killed the beast on the slopes of Mount Mouchet. Like the first beast, this one was sent to be inspected and stuffed. This next part of the story is a little strange, but bear with me. A surgeon named Dr. Boulanger, no way that's how you pronounce it, I'm just doing it that way. A surgeon named Dr. Boulanger studied the beast. They called it necropsy back then, but it's an autopsy.
Okay.
His work was transcribed by a royal notary named Roche Etienne Marin. And the famous report is known as the Marin Report. That's what this comes from. I had to tap into the Wayback Machine to access a copy of this report. And unfortunately, didn't get an intelligent translation of the old French, because this is older French, right? Text. But I'm going to do my best to recount the autopsy for you guys, at least part of it.
Interesting.
So here it is.
All right.
Because it's only like 3 pages, luckily, but a lot of it's kind of weird. So, quote, Mr. Marquis d'Apcher, having had this animal transported to his castle of Bequees parish of Charray, we judged it appropriate to go there to check it. And being at the castle, Mr. Marquis d'Apcher made us represent this animal, which seemed to us to be a wolf, but extraordinary and well different by its figure and its proportions of the wolves that we see in this country. This is what more than 300 people from all surroundings who came to see him have certified to us. He means that out of the 300 or so people that are gathering around this autopsy, that's what they're saying about it.
Okay.
So it's really translated bad. Several hunters and many connoisseurs have actually made us remark that this animal has similarities with the wolf, but only by the tail and the back. Its head, as we will see by the following proportions, is monstrous.
Oh.
Its collar is covered with a very thick hair of a Rousseur trait gray, I guess it's a type of gray, crossed by a few black stripes. It has on the chest a large white mark in the shape of a heart. Its pastes have 4 fingers. I think it's like hooves or stuff. Its pastes have 4 fingers armed with large nails that extend much longer or much more than those of ordinary wolves.
Wow.
They have, as well as the legs, which are very large, especially those in the front, the color of those of the deer.
Okay.
This seemed to us a remarkable observation because in the opinion of the same hunters, knowledgeable people, and all of the hunters we have ever seen, it also seemed about to observe that these coats do not resemble, coats mean the coats, the coat of the wolf, the coats, do not resemble that of the wolf, which gives this animal the freedom to turn easily, meaning they find it improbable this beast didn't have trouble turning its head around. That's how big and weird his neck was.
Wow.
Yeah. Instead of the coats of the wolves being placed obliquely, do not allow this facility. He's just comparing it to another wolf, unquote. That's roughly what the section that made the most sense, honestly.
Okay.
So there's a bit of the description. He also gets into a lot more in it. Like the report does give specific measurements, but the text is really confusing enough as it is. But interestingly enough, since the autopsy had a swarm of people marveling at the beast, the report mentions testimonies from those who survived attacks and recounted the loved ones that perished under the beast's claws. So there were people that are screaming like, "This is the beast that killed my mom," whatever. So it's must have been a crazy day.
Oh yeah, what a scene that is, man.
I can't even imagine. An open air kind of autopsy.
In a castle.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
A local castle too. It wasn't like a royal one. It's a local nobleman's castle, I think. Which I don't know the difference, but there is one. I couldn't tell you. It's like the difference between jail and prison or something.
Yeah.
Right. Afterwards, the nobleman who organized the hunt, Marquis d'Apchy, sent his servant Gilbert, it's probably Gilbert, but I'm going to say Gilbert.
Yeah, Gilbert.
Sent his servant Gilbert to take the beast to Versailles and show it to the king. Arriving in Paris, he went to stay at the Hotel Rochefoucauld and couldn't yet deliver the beast because the king was not in town. He was given the order that a naturalist named Buffonto, which sounds Italian, visit and examine the animal. This is a royal taxidermist, by the way. Okay. Among other things. He was probably a lot of things. His judgment was basically that it was a great wolf with a few non-wolf traits and that human remains were found in its stomach. Ooh. The unfortunate thing is that we don't know what he meant by that because he wrote no report. Gilbert said, Bufo. I know, right? Gilbert said that the rate of decomposition made it impossible to find out more. He talked about the worms and the clumps of hair and that the summer heat only made the stench worse. Oof. Yeah. Oof. Jean Chastel did not accompany Gilbert to Paris, and nothing was presented to the king because as soon as the Buffonto inspection ended, the beast was buried. Gilbert complained about the stench that he said he'd gotten sick from and had to stay in the hotel for an additional 15 days to get past it. I think he just wanted a vacation.
Fucking Gilbert.
That's what I fucking think is happening. I think Gilbert was just...
Gilbert's taking advantage.
Dude, he's taking advantage, yes. I mean, I might have too, honestly. Traditionally, a creature of this size and popularity would have been in the collections of the Jardin du Roi, right? It would have been a big thing.
Yeah.
And it would have been sent to Paris or Versailles, the two biggest spots in France. Instead, the beast was buried in the garden of the Hotel Rochefoucauld, where the path of the trees and the pond are visible at the center of an engraving. That hotel was demolished in 1825, but an illustration made in 1739 is available in the show notes.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that's the right there where the pond, with the fountain is in the pond. That's where the beast was buried.
Got it. Okay, good to know.
It's the closest to a visual we'll get out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no drone footage of this fucking place. No. But it's good to know where the fountain, that's right. When you look at the map in the show notes, that's where the beast supposedly was buried.
Obviously, that doesn't look like that anymore because it was demolished, but who knows what that place looks like now. But wow. It's probably like a condo.
Yeah.
Right. Jean Chastel was well paid and honored for his services. His rifle and signature is kept in a museum, but a strange rumor did come up about Chastel. A rumor that inspired more honorifics later on, but not just to him, but to the beast as well, decades and centuries later. I'm going to hold on to that for a spell. I mentioned at the top of this that this is a close-circuited story, that it has an ending. Mm-hmm. For all intents and purposes, Chastel must have killed the correct beast because no attacks continued after 1767. I should say no crazy amount of kills were done other than the garden variety wolf attacks that the country was suffering from anyway.
Yeah.
Life was celebrated and moved on to the people of Gévaudan, even though our story is not over. I want to get into what modern professionals had to say about the Beast of Gévaudan.
Yeah.
Get into some science if we can.
Science.
Quote, historians, scientists, pseudoscientists, and conspiracy theorists, our bread and butter,
absolutely,
have all proposed theories about what the beast was. Among the suspects, a Eurasian wolf, an armored war dog, a striped hyena, a lion, some kind of prehistoric predator, a werewolf.
Yeah,
a werewolf is another. Or a dog, wolf hybrid, and a human, like combo.
All three?
No, I'm sorry. A dog wolf hybrid with a human, like a human with the dog hybrid wolf.
Oh,
like an owner and its pet.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, that's what they mean.
Got it.
Like as far as suspects go, right?
Armored war dog.
Yeah, that's cool, right?
That's badass.
That's probably terrible for that time period, but we'll see. Of the candidates, the most fanciful is, of course, the werewolf.
Right.
Historian J.M. Smith points out that Chastel purportedly used a silver bullet to slay the wolf, thereby feeding into the werewolf mythology.
Love that.
Also unrealistic is that the beast was an extinct prehistoric predator such as a bear dog, dire wolf, or hyenodon. The idea that such a large animal would evade detection for thousands to millions of years is just too implausible, Smith argues. That's his reasoning, anyway, in a nutshell. Others have suggested that a human serial killer may be responsible for the attacks. I mean, many of the beast victims were reported to be decapitated, something few animals could do. While it is unlikely that a killer would roam about for victims in broad daylight wearing a bestial costume, those who support this theory believe that the human killer used an animal to carry out the crimes. What was the animal? Some have speculated that it could be an armored war dog, which explains its strange appearance and why it was able to shrug off musket shots, unquote. So what do you think? This is the discussion point.
It was
now.
armored.
This is a discussion point. So what do you think of the suspects by professionals?
I want it to be a werewolf so bad.
Sure,
I want it to be a werewolf.
Well, that's why conspiracy and pseudoscientists.
I'm in love with the idea of a serial killer, but has trained some sort of a beast to do his killing.
That's kind of cool.
That's very cool.
Have you ever seen Hannibal, the show?
Yes.
Have you seen season 2? I think. Remember that one serial killer that has a literal like a bear exoskeleton that he uses to hunt people and kill them.
Remember that.
Kill them with
That's
steel claws and steel jaws. He would do all the violence, but he looks like a beast.
I remember that.
It reminds me of that. Like what of that? You know. I don't know if you can make that back then, but that'd be cool though. Makes me think of that.
That is cool.
Like it could be a human in this kind of outfit. You know.
Wow.
Remember? Yeah.
But then getting shot and, the girl stabbed.
Well, who knows what kind of plating it would have and stuff like that. But yeah, you're right.
But then again, the one that the girl stabbed is different than what was autopsied and ultimately buried at that hotel, right?
We don't know.
Oh, true.
We just don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or just some animal that went undetected for thousands of years.
I personally think it is kind of a dire wolf. Like, I think James Smith says, like, what are the chances that this kind of creature would evade us for
that long?
10,000 years? Because it's 10,000 years roughly when they became extinct, dire wolves.
I think that sounds right, actually.
Yeah. So it's not too far off from us. It's not compared to, like, a dinosaur, which is millions and millions. Like, right? So that's way different. But I do think it's possible.
How thick were these woods and the forests surrounding?
As I'm saying, like, this is back then. Most people are not just, illiterate, not to mention, like, people were raised generations in one spot, They're not going to talk to fucking scientists. They don't know what that is. Yeah. How do you know what you don't know? You know what I mean? I feel like it's totally plausible that it could be remnants of an older species, of course. Like the last ones, maybe, I
like that theory. I think the best.
I think is my favorite, even though werewolf is cool.
Yeah, werewolf is the most fun, the most whimsical.
Yeah.
The gnarly one is a serial killer who trained some sort of a beast,
that's fucked up.
A large dog or whatever it was, to do his killing.
That's
a good one.
Up. That's also kind of possible a little bit.
Considering the time, the remoteness, the surrounding forest. They have Bigfoots in the Pacific Northwest of the United States in those thick forests. I could see some, like you said, the last remaining of something.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I'm going with.
I don't think CSI Gévaudan was ready for this. You know what I'm saying?
No, they weren't.
No, they weren't. All right. Back to the show, folks.
Back to it. Back to it.
The wolf theory is the closest to the fact that people have said. Most of the characteristics and the fact that the time period fit makes it most likely that the beast was a lone wolf. Could there have been two? Yes. But the main thing that rubs against this theory is the frequency of attacks. It is very unlikely that wolves attack and kill this much and this often. Wolves with rabies would attack to this degree, but no survivors had any symptoms of rabies. And an animal afflicted with rabies have a shelf life of 2 weeks, not several years. So the theory has a few holes in it. There's simply not enough genetic evidence to find out the truth. Now, let's get into some legend crafting. I already mentioned this, but there was a rumor that John Chastel, the hunter that killed the second final beast, used silver bullets. It was something that someone said after hearing Chastel say it, one of those word of mouth things, but who knows? Who knows for real how it started? This obviously has fed into the mythology of werewolves. This time period is a giant game of telephone. Possibly it all originates from the beast. Gévaudan and the Margeride Mountains holds legendary significance to the werewolf mythology. Quote, the Beast of Gévaudan was a French legend that supposedly takes on the appearance of a large wolf-like creature. This creature is fabled to be very powerful and possessive, almost like a demonic spirit. A normal man or woman can open their bodies up to be possessed by the Beast of Gévaudan, la bête, that's what they called it, la bête. By drinking the water out of the footprint of a wolf, they must drink the water straight off the ground during a full moon. Once the spirit of la bête took possession of the person's body, they would experience memory blanks, loss of time, which they cannot account for, fugue states, aggression, confusion, delusions, and hallucinations. Supposedly, la bête was born from a continued line of werewolves where the male of each generation would have the wolf gene in their DNA, and during a blood moon, they would pass on the wolf power through a bite. La bête was first fabled to be in the body of a man named Josiah Lucille, and his sister was the one who killed him with a single spear crafted from mountain ash and mistletoe. I don't know how you make a spear out of that, but whatever. The spirit of la bête is the most powerful legend in France, and when someone drinks the water from the print of a wolf and becomes la bête, their person gradually ceases to exist. Their memories, their very essence is replaced by that of Josiah Lucille, and his spirit seeks vengeance on all hunters and all descendants of his sister, the bloodline of Lucille. The name Sylve can be translated to mean silver, which is coincidentally the fabled element capable of killing a werewolf. Right. However, silver, according to this legend, doesn't kill a wolf, but simply weakens it. La bête went after the modern descendants of his family, who had the names of Sylve, Silver, Argent, and Stilgent, my bad. Josiah's sister was also known as the Maid of Gévaudan, quote, unquote. So that's right. The 20-year-old woman I mentioned earlier in the story that was crossing the mountain river with her sister and managed to stab the beast in the chest with her bayonet was manufactured into the werewolf mythos as like the bloodline hunter again, like the natural hunter.
That's cool.
Kind of thing.
That's a cool story.
Right. How many countless movies and comic books and works of art and literature depict the lupine curse in such a way? Silver bullets, memory gaps, large wolves that kill humans, etc. I mean, thousands at this point. And so the Beast of Gévaudan goes down in history as one of France's biggest legends and joins the ranks of other ancient creatures such as Cerberus, Pegasus, Manticore, Basilisk, and Chimera. Now, there's two more things I want to add in. That was the original ending, by the way. That's the original show. That's how it ended. But there's two more things I want to add in. Other than the history and legends I've already mentioned, there's one famous rendition of the Beast of Gévaudan in pop culture. A movie named Brotherhood of the Wolf. Yes, have you heard of it?
I have heard of this.
It was released in 2001, made in France by French artists. So, that's good. It wasn't made here or anything.
Yeah.
The two biggest stars in the movie that you would recognize today is Vincent Cassel.
Oh.
You'll recognize him if you see him. He's in a lot of things.
Yeah.
Trying to think of a movie?
Yes.
Marine? No, you haven't seen Marine. He was in one of Christopher Nolan's movies. He was in a bunch of things. He plays a bad guy a lot. He was in Black Swan. He plays the coach or the instructor.
Okay. I can kind of, his face is coming out of the mist.
He has a very punchable face, like he's an asshole. He plays an asshole.
Okay.
Anyway.
I know the name. I know him.
In the movie, he plays a shady nobleman, so that's not surprising. And the second famous actor is Monica Bellucci.
Oh, of course. Sweet, sweet Monica Bellucci.
Who plays a courtesan, and she is naked in the movie, like in many of her movies. Well, anyway, she plays a courtesan with hidden and possibly witchy motives in the movie. The movie gets a few things right from history. It depicts the bands of hunters coming into town, especially the ones sent by the royal court. It shows the fake kill of the beast, like the first kill that they thought was real but wasn't. Shows the first fake kill of the beast and the king ignoring the continued attacks. It mainly takes a conspiratorial and political turn when you find out that a person is controlling the beast.
Ah, there you go.
And that the attacks are motivated by religious zealots trying to take down the crown or something like that. The movie is bonkers. It features martial arts, which makes no sense to me, and a legit Native American character that is used to commune with nature to find the beast.
In France. Okay.
Brought over from the Americas. Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Oh, so they import
an actual
Indian to... Okay.
Because, I guess at this time, France had territory, and so it's not like they were unknown to us.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's funny.
They get into a real history about the guy and everything in the movie. It's probably like super self-serving and racist, but I don't know. I'm not Native American. The beast itself is massive in the movie, like super big, bigger than the HBO direwolf. It's huge.
Oh, okay.
It is armored. So that's funny. It is armored, though, which is funny when historians hypothesize that a man with an armored dog could have been responsible for the attacks, and especially the decapitations. The graphics are really bad, though. This is 2001 compared to today's lens. It kind of reminds me of the creature from the Relic with Tom Sizemore.
I do remember that movie.
You know how bad that creature looked like? That's how bad it is.
Okay.
Graphics-wise.
Yes, I remember that because that took place at the
Chicago Museum, the Field Museum.
I think, it's got to be Field Museum.
I think it's the Field Museum. Yeah, that entrance is iconic.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
The last, that's the movie. I do recommend it.
I'm gonna check it out.
Although it's a little too long. It's on Prime Video. It's over 2 hours though, but it's a fun movie. It's a fun movie though.
And Monica Bellucci. I mean, come on.
I mean, yeah, but she's not the main character, but yes, she's in it. So the last thing I want to mention is the reason why I'm bringing this story to you now, as opposed to a later date when Jay and I are scraping the bottom of a barrel for content. It is a recent news item involving direwolves. A company called Colossal Biosciences announced in April of this year that through genetic engineering and ancient DNA, bred 3 direwolf puppies back from extinction. You heard of this?
They're cute as fuck.
I wrote that in here.
I just want to gobble them up.
Their names are Romulus, Remus, and Khaleesi. I'm not joking.
I love it all. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Romulus and Remus. I mean, that's a famous story.
Yeah.
And Khaleesi from Dragons.
Personally, Remus sounds like it's one of Harry Potter's teachers. Remus Lupin.
Oh,
werewolf.
Right. Yeah.
Lupin as in werewolf. Yes.
That's right.
That's what I think it's from. But
that's right.
You're right. It could be.
Call.
I could be wrong, though. Anyway, so Romulus, Remus, and Khaleesi are their names, which I think helps tell you the age of the scientists, or at least the owners of the company, whoever named them. Yeah. These pups are super cute and are hidden away from public view in some undisclosed location in the U.S. currently.
Oh, okay.
If you're a believer like myself, that the Beast of Gévaudan was a direwolf that made it into the 18th century, then this may raise some alarm bells. This feels like Jurassic Park. a little bit. If they start like reproducing like crazy in some, place that starts hunting.
Next thing, we're going to be like the 1700s France in Chicago, walking down the street.
All our gym bros with a bunch of crossbows. Thank you.
Getting mauled by, getting mauled by wolves walking down,
in traffic and shit.
Jesus
While
Christ.
we're waiting in traffic, what am I imagining? It's terrible. Anyway, luckily, and it looks like many scientists have doubts to this claim. At best, this genetic breakthrough is a facsimile of a direwolf because it is being disputed.
Oh.
It is being disputed. That even in puppy form, that they should be looking differently than they are. Like this is not what a direwolf would look like. That's what
they had to mix the direwolf DNA with.
Exactly. I'm about to get into that. A zoologist in New Zealand called them genetically modified gray wolves, not really dire wolves.
Oh, really?
Well, we'll get into it. Ancient DNA is impossible to use to fully generate a clone. Using familiars like gray wolves to fill in the gaps is prudent, but at best makes this a new species, a crossbreed of some dire wolf and a wolf species we have on Earth today. It is known that direwolves went extinct around 10,000 years ago, which makes their blood way more viable than a dinosaur's, but it still doesn't quite get there genetically speaking. A sticking point is what Colossal Biosciences has said about their technique. The use of a direwolf's closest living relative, the gray wolf, using targeted DNA sequencing may not be close enough. The divergence in DNA between direwolves and gray wolves are millions of years apart. Not unlike us and certain ape species. You know how we're like apart from apes and stuff? Now, a podcast I listened to on this subject put it in an apt way. I can't take credit. That's why I mentioned I listened to it in a podcast. I'm paraphrasing here. Imagine someone took a species genetically close to humans, like the bonobo, and bred one without hair and then called it a human. That's what the de-extinct direwolves are.
Wah, wah, wah.
That's how it feels like anyway.
Damn.
Colossal Biosciences hasn't released most or all of the underlying science to help us see this better, which doesn't bode well, doesn't kind of speak very highly for them. It does seem like a ploy to generate massive appeal to one day be able to bring back either direwolves for real, if possible, or something else like a woolly mammoth, which they said they want to do. They want to do that. Current science hasn't been able to prove that direwolves were all that bigger than the wolves we have today, actually.
Really?
But that this company is trying to make them bigger because of popular perception of how a direwolf should look like, probably because of Game of Thrones and stuff like that.
Really?
The way they name these pups kind of suggests that. I wouldn't exactly say that this is fake news or clickbait nonsense because they did manage to clone something kind of cool, but ultimately it looks like a boutique piece of advertisement for what Colossal Biosciences can do. With enough effort, we can all have a Beast of Chicago and Toledo and Rome, etc. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's kind of a letdown with the direwolf story.
Yeah.
I kind of heard it on the fringes of my work week, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Right.
Scary, but very cool.
Had the same initial thought.
And I guess I should have thought about it. They're going to have to mix that DNA with something, so it's not a pure direwolf, obviously. Right. I guess I just didn't give enough thought at the time, but yeah, that lets me down a little bit.
Right.
It seems like it's a cash grab. You know?
And also it does seem like they're genetically making what is a popular belief of what direwolves should look like, not exactly what they looked like in the past, in our real life history.
Game of Thrones influenced cloning. That's scary.
Right.
That's scary.
Yeah, because those wolves are so much bigger, but scientists are saying that direwolves of our past were not that much bigger than regular wolves.
Yeah, which again is news to me. I thought direwolves were huge. You know, just
I thought that too.
5 times the size.
I mean, it's something contested. They just don't know for sure, but they don't think that it was that much bigger.
Interesting.
Also, it's much harder, for Mother Nature to support large animals. There's a reason why large animals are going away. It's just the habitat of our world no longer. Sources. Right. There's a reason why large animals can't exist anymore. Reason why elephants and giraffes are going away too, because it just does not support huge animals like that. The more mass you have, the more you have to eat and consume and shit to keep it going. It just doesn't. It's not as prudent. Nature will make them extinct at some point. You know, it's natural.
That's sad.
Which makes sense why I'm saying direwolves were probably not as big as we think they are, or they were.
Huh.
You know.
I would still want one.
Oh, fuck yeah.
A direwolf and an armored war dog.
I will take a puppy direwolf in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Walking down the street with 2 of those bad boys.
Well,
direwolf on my left arm, but yeah. Armored war dog on my right. Dude,
I would sell my soul to make money so I can get an estate and shit. That's the one reason to make money. I would actually care about making money if I had a direwolf. Just to give it running space.
The names are so cool. Khaleesi, Game of Thrones, and Romulus and Remus. That's an old Roman story. They were brothers.
Oh, okay.
Weaned by a she-wolf.
Okay,
so
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So very cool names that they chose for these.
That's so funny. When I thought of Remus as Harry Potter and Romulus, I don't know. It's a movie that came out last year, but that's all I thought of. Yeah.
Fun story.
Yeah, right?
Fun story. You're right. I love cryptids.
Yes.
I do remember covering this for Patreon. I'm glad you freshened it up and made it different, brought some new information.
Yeah.
That's great. Definitely check out Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. It doesn't make sense, but it's a fun movie. It
doesn't have to.
No,
right?
it doesn't. It's 2001. It was a different time.
But, this thing, it has a victim profile almost.
It does. I mean, very exclusively humans, young humans, catchable humans, but humans nonetheless.
Bypasses the animals so far as we know.
Right.
Purely
I mean, usually
attacks.
it would go after dumb, even bigger animals. Like you have cattle and bison.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
they're bigger than humans. They have more meat to them. Why wouldn't
Slower.
you? Slower,
They don't
right?
fight back.
Why wouldn't you go after them, right?
That's what makes it so intriguing. There's a profile, ignored the other animals, slower,
Right.
dumber, bigger animals,
Yeah.
and just went after.
It also
humans.
seems like the beast was maybe just released there. Like, how did it travel and stop there? What made it stop there? If it was traveling from somewhere, or was it just like captured and then released there? I don't know. Who knows?
Did it come from? Was it interdimensional? Did it come from
Or is it
somewhere
something
else?
more akin to what we talked about during our, our haunted forest episode regarding our national parks? Is it something related to that? Is a creature from that kind of thing? We just don't know.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah, I always
That's
think about that in all of our shows. Like, how is it related? Is it possible?
To the missing 411
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Very good, dude.
Yes,
Very
thank you.
interesting.
So that's the Beast of Gévaudan, and hopefully I never have to say another goddamn French thing in my goddamn life. I have this story is kind of like it's a little bit thanks to and but for a friend of mine who is French. I told my friend Jean, who is French, I told her, like, watch out for this episode because I'm going to butcher your language.
Is she going to listen?
I told her to listen.
Love it.
And she better.
Hi, John.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. She lives in Ohio, so who gives a shit?
Ohio.
Sorry. I always make fun of her for living in Ohio. Anyway, I hope she gets a kick out of my bad French, but here it is.
It was great. It was great. I appreciate the story. Appreciate you letting me be the passenger princess today.
Of course.
And I guess we'll be back in a month with another story.
Yeah, God knows what.
Don't know.
Jay, why don't you take us home? Raise all. Well, what prompted him to do it, though?
I mean, when we get to our age, I should have gone 2 years ago.
Our age? You mean your age? We're in a different age bracket.
You're not far behind.
I'm kidding, of course. We're in the same age bracket, but I'm saying,
It's
I call you old.
yeah, you do.
I'd say the sooner the better. Let's just get it over with. I know I just say that, but just give me an excuse to jump off a bridge, please. Thank you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and just give me a reason. I'll do a Tony Scott. Remember Tony Scott?
No.
The director of True Romance and Man on Fire and Days of Thunder, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he found out he got cancer, and he jumped off one famous bridge. I forget what.
No.
Yeah?
Holy shit.
Yeah, pretty sure he did that. That was Ridley Scott's brother. They were both famous. They're both famous directors.
Wow. Fucking, I didn't know that.
Can't wait to see what kind of alcohol I'll be having at the resort.
Yeah.
Because it's all inclusive with alcohol included. All I gotta do is bring tip money. So,
Just be careful. Sometimes they lace that shit. You hear stories all the time of tourists.
Nah, it's just horror stories. It's fine.
They're true, though. It happens.
They're fine. Nothing's gonna happen to me.
Fuck.
I look about as rich as I look. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna be a target.
Well, yeah, that's true, I guess.
I'm really protected by what bottom of the barrel community person I am. Like, it's really protecting me. Like, I could be a criminal. That's how much.
You could be a criminal.
Yeah, but I just don't have the heart for it. Just don't have it.
Because
I can't fuck people over.
you're not high on the
I just can't fuck people over like that.
the,
It's just too much. Because I don't want that on me. So.
dark triad.
Yeah.
You're not high on the dark triad scale.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I mean, I am, according to them.
According to them, you're ready to, fucking kill people.
Yeah.
You're one step away from killing people.
Fucking just give me one more bad day, right? It's like the Breaking Bad thing. He wouldn't have become such a fucking murderous kingpin if you just had health insurance. Bitch, you don't eat it.
Leather. Tobacco. Oh, yeah, that's tobacco.
You know, when I was younger, over by on Central and Belmont, which
Yeah.
is not far at all from where I grew up.
Yeah.
There's a store there, still there. It must have been there for a long time. is a cowboy store. Have you seen it?
You know, it does sound familiar.
It's pretty ostentatious. Like there's shit up front all the time. There's a big sign. I forgot the name of it though, but it's very cowboy themed. I would go in there sometimes just to smell the leather, which is like an onslaught to your senses when you walk in there. And I was like, this is the only, and I've only seen that. I've never noticed any other ones, you know, in general.
I think I do remember which one you're talking about.
Right? Yeah.
Here, smell that. And they're thinking about 3 days a week in 2026. 2, I'm okay
with. Is this a rollback to the old days? Like, is this, like the reason it's only 2 days is because of COVID? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's because people like to work from home.
Well, yeah.
And these companies...
And I can't imagine a company isn't saving money by letting that happen, by the way.
Google's calling everyone back. I think Musk called everyone back and fired people who didn't come back and shit like that.
Yeah, but it's stupid. I don't see how you...
Hybrid, I'm okay with either fully remote or hybrid, where, 2 days there.
But that's my point. That's better than the old days, than having everyone come in every day. It's ridiculous.
I couldn't do it, man.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's a step back now. Like, that's just the one positive thing of COVID, if anything, you know?
Yeah, it showed that people can work outside of the brick and mortar corporate office and still get things done.
Right.
Now, it's not for everybody. I mean, you weed people out, I would say, pretty quick. But for those who could manage it, it's great.
Yeah.
Not everyone can. Not
everyone can work in an office either. You know, that's like the same problem. Yeah. Vice versa, right? It's just that those people weren't known before.
But at least at offices, eyes are on the people, so they'll work.
Yeah.
They might fucking hate it, but they'll work because they're being watched. At home, some people just fuck off.
That's the thing, is that if the ones that are demanding that return to the old days, it just seems to be like just a way to micromanage people.
I think so. And they're probably locked in leases and everything, and they got to justify having this expensive lease on a commercial property. So everyone come back in.
Well, much less likely by now. Leases don't last longer than a few years tops.
Well, corporate's different, though.
Is it different?
Yeah, these big commercial facilities, they can sign a lease for, all right, we'll give you a great deal if you sign for 10 years. Okay. That's what they do. So.
No, okay, well, that's a different story. I guess you could rent it out to something else. I don't know why they're trying so hard.
Yeah.
But a hybrid, at least, is better than...
I almost wouldn't hate. I don't think I would hate going to Milwaukee 2 days a week. Milwaukee's not a bad city. It's not the fucking Loop, thank God. I hated commuting to the Loop.
Well, because you hate the commute. The Loop itself, when you're there,
the Loop is overcrowded and you can't move.
Yeah, it says someone that moved into the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin.
Yeah. Downtown Milwaukee's way more laid back, way more chill. So I don't think I would mind commuting there two times a week. I don't think that would be bad.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I get what you're saying. To me, the Loop is great when you don't have to drive there. Yeah. Or the downtown is, or can be great if you don't have to drive there and money isn't a big issue.
If you don't have to drive, you don't have to park.
Yeah, otherwise it's great. It's awesome. But I don't find it too crazy.
For me, I'm not a fan.
I'm not a homeless mind reader either. It's not like I know how to avoid them or anything like that. But they're not a big problem to me. They never bother me that much. This is the only time this is the first time we're not going to go out, right? Because of your swabbing. Your swabbing life. Yes. Please say that to the guy who comes in.
No, it's a girl, actually.
Say even better. They always enjoy a joke like that.
Should I say we go swabby?
Yeah.
Call the cops. Creep.
You know, I make jokes like that, and there's always a chance you're going to be seeing a creep, of course, when you make a joke like that. But like, for example, like the other day, I went to this house over in, near the border to Wisconsin. It was like Antioch or something. Dropping off this nice house, dropping off this order, and the mom, I guess, ordered it. It was taking a while to get to the door, and they had all these animals there, like at least 2 cats, at least 2 dogs, and something else. And they had 2 kids, toddlers. One of them was this buck naked ass little girl.
No.
She was running up to me saying hi. I'm like, get your mom. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. She's naked and all that. Like, I didn't like clothes at that age either. I get it.
I don't know.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. But she laughed. I don't know if it was courtesy. But yeah. So you have to try.
So I'll try the Rico Swabby?
Yes, please do.
If she arrests me.
I mean, I'll just come up and do it for you. I just want it done. I just want this joke said.
She sounded kind of cute, actually. actually. Because she was supposed to come at 5 tomorrow. Because I originally was going to work. But I'm like, I'm going to be drinking before then. So I took off.
Can you come before noon?
Yeah, so I moved it to 8:30.
Right.
So I can maybe go back to sleep for an hour and then start drinking around noon. And I didn't want to fuck up my day. So I had to come at 8:30 in the morning.
That's so funny.
Because I'm usually up when my mind is always racing. I'm usually up now. It's got to be like 5 o'clock. And I struggle. I fight. The first thing I do is I wake up. I say, fuck you. And then I try to go back to sleep for the next 2 hours. It's terrible.
I mean, you know me. You know my feelings about sleep. I hate it.
I love it. I wish I could do more of it.
I mean, if I could do it infinitely, that's fine.
If I could turn this off, it would be great.
Well, if I could do it infinitely, that's great. But waking up is the worst part about sleep. And trying to go to sleep is also the worst part. So, yeah. No, I'm terrible. And sleep itself is great. But as long as it's forever. What was I going to say to that? Shit. It's gone. Also, I could just read the script super fast.
No, please.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay.
Gee, no. If anything, you in the past you used to tell me to go slower because I read too fast sometimes.
So how do I
How do you? You just sit back, be a passenger princess.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be like, Oscar, take the wheel.
I mean, say we're back and the lights are flowing or whatever the fuck you say, and yeah, no, I'll get it.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, say that part, I guess, if that's what you mean.
Okay.
And I'll start. Okay, I've been recording, so let's do this in 5, motherfucking 4, motherfucking 2. Hold on. It's this bar called Never Have I Ever.
Really?
Have you heard of it?
No.
Oh, okay. It made it sound like you know. Yeah, it's this one is themed to 90s slasher horror.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to go in because I mean they encourage it, but you don't have to. You know.
So what's the bar? Never Have I Ever. What's it like? What kind of bar is it?
Yeah, I mean it's a regular dive Chicago bar. Really, it doesn't look that much special. But obviously they dress it up interior, and then there's a huge back room where all the dance floor is, and they have an upstairs in the back. That only because a lot of OnlyFans girls and porn actresses go to these things. They're highlighted as co-hosts, and up there is where the DJ's at too. And they all hang out there and they dance on the stairs in front of all of us while the party is happening.
Are they naked?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, not like totally, but like pretty. Yeah.
Nice. Good for those OnlyFans girls.
Mm-hmm.
Good for them.
Yep.
It's very nice. Where's it by? Never Have I Ever.
I'm really bad with this. It's on Lincoln and something, but Lincoln's so big, I don't.
Is it Lincoln Park? Is it?
No, Lincoln the street. Just don't remember where. I'll tell you this: it's 15 minutes from my house. That's what I know.
Is it by the Biograph Theater?
No, I think it's by a college though.
Isn't DePaul?
Maybe it's DePaul.
I think
Maybe it's around there. Yeah, because I recognize a campus on my way there.
I like the name. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a great name, right?
It is a good name.
I love that. I never heard of it before these events.
What kind
And that place is open until 5 a.m.
Damn.
That's the longest I've ever seen it. When I leave them, it's like dead out there.
Someone had
Because when I get in there, it's like busy as fuck. But
yeah.
I leave, it's all dead because everywhere else is closed.
What kind of people? Or is this your first time?
No, this is like a third time.
What kind of people? Are they all like college kids or?
Yeah, they're definitely younger than me. Yeah.
That sucks, doesn't it? Like when we go out over here.
Not for me.
I hate that. Yeah,
Oh, I mean, I can see why you would hate. I mean, look,
I don't hate it.
not hate it, but I do sense the that disparity. Yeah, I do sense that age gap because they sense it, and because they're young, they don't know how to hide anything. It's obvious to us when they notice that we're older, or I'm older, right? But I don't give a shit. And,
no.
And the whole purpose of it, they don't give a shit either. All they care about is dancing. And I don't bother them. They don't bother me. Okay. Although sometimes they bother me, or sometimes they dance with me, or whatever happens.
But no one starts shit, right?
No, I haven't seen anything bad. Have not seen anything bad.
This generation's different.
It's weirder. Not weirder. That's not right. Because
Our generation was more violent.
Oh yeah, that's the one thing I was gonna say. We were definitely more violent. Yeah. Also, I think we were hornier. Not a lot of stuff going on that I was used to when I was 20.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Dude, I used to go to Lascaux. You ever heard of Lascaux? It's a little shitty dive bar that doesn't exist for a long time, but I used to go there every weekend. People would fuck on the dance floor.
Oh my god.
I almost did too.
Wow.
It was very, very grody, very seedy, shitty little thing. It was over on Bryn Mawr by Blue Angel.
The restaurant?
Yeah. It was around there.
Isn't that a suburb?
Yeah, it's like Norwich or Harbour Heights.
Fuck.
Yeah. I forget. It was around there, yeah.
Or Niles or something?
What's the big street? I think it's Bryn Mawr. Maybe it's Milwaukee. Or what's that street?
Yeah, I'm thinking Blue Angel was like Niles or
Central.
Displains or
Oh,
something.
no. Oh, no. They're going too far. No,
Really?
this was... No. Yeah. Because Blue
remember
Angel
it. I've eaten
was on Central, right before the highway. It was on Central. Foster was right there. And
Was that by
Lawrence, I think, was right there.
Taft?
It's like a 6-corner thing. It's by a cop station. It's by the big Blue Line station. Over on Lawrence.
I know, dude.
It's right there. It's like a block, 2 blocks away from that.
Okay.
So
I know,
it's technically suburbs, but it's like on the edge of the city. It's definitely not this place.
Yeah, I remember Blue Angel.
Yeah. I mean, it's gone too. That's gone.
Is it really?
Oh yeah, it's been gone.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I remember them having good food. Like, I remember liking it.
I used to go there as like my, if it wasn't Denny's, we would go there for our drunk nights.
No, Ghetto Nugget, dude.
Well, Ghetto Nugget became expensive.
Did it really?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's still expensive.
We loved going there, man.
Oh, I love Ghetto Nugget too.
Katie
But,
still asks me, let's go to Ghetto Nugget. Like,
oh, I would go. Yeah, I would go. But like Denny's and Blue Angel, places like that were like drunk places to go after drink, right?
Yes.
You soak up some pancakes.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of kids doing that stuff. But also, it's a much more corporatized world. I don't know how they look at it. They probably look at it way different than we do.
It is strange.
Yeah.
They're a strange bunch.
But some things they get more easier, better than we did. Like, it's probably a good thing they're not as violent.
Well, yeah, it is a good thing, of course. Of course.
Don't get me wrong. I, for example, the one great thing about our violence, so to speak, and by the way, we were nowhere near as violent as our parents' generation. They were way more violent.
You think?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I wasn't there. You were there. You tell me. But here's the thing. The best thing about the violence that we were used to, we didn't immediately sue people for it. You know what I mean? We didn't immediately turn up a fuss. A bar fight is just a bar fight. Nowadays, if that did happen to this younger crowd, they would do something about it.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just a pussy move.
Right.
To me. But that's...
No, I agree with you.
Like, let's not all immediately sue everyone.
Yeah, fuck those people.
Yeah.
But you're Gen X.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So do you remember where you left off?
Of course, right here. I finish a paragraph so I don't start in the middle of it. That's insane.
Yeah.
Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2. It was a bleak time. Okay, no, I'm good. Just making sure.
Yeah, we did.
I'm like, was that the paragraph? I was I'm good. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2. You need to let it out?
No.
Okay.
Sometimes I like this thing, and sometimes I hate this thing. Like,
Well, yeah.
if you have a bad back, it keeps your back nice and straight because this is quite hard.
Yeah.
But it's also quite hard.
My problem is that I am unable, or it's very hard, very, very, very hard to sleep on my back. I sleep belly face down.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I'm a side sleeper for sure.
I can't.
Not even on your side?
Not unless I'm really drunk.
Really?
Like I'm passing out or something. Or if I'm really sick, I can sleep on my back then for some reason because it's easier.
Maybe there's a breathe or something.
But I can't fall asleep. And I know exactly why though, because I used to be able to sleep on my back like a regular human for many years. And then around in my late teens, I got scared. I think on 2 occasions, not in a row, but like on 2 occasions, I woke up unable to breathe, and I thought I was dying. And it would scare the shit out of me. It would wake me up in a start. So I thought that it was hard for me to breathe like this, like sleeping. So I started sleeping on my side, and then I ended up evolving into sleeping face down.
I mean, for some people, if you're overweight or if you have just large tonsils or, just weight around your neck area, you can start.
Yeah, I know that is a thing now,
like
but then it was just like an irrational fear. I didn't know there was things attached.
And
to it.
that'll last. I mean, that'll.
Right. Well, it's not proven. I never found out. I don't know.
No, but I'm saying going through that will last mentally.
Oh, yes.
Now you don't want to do it anymore.
100%.
I get it.
Oh yeah. It freaked me the fuck out.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. And everything you hear about like sleeping, like you shouldn't sleep on your you're supposed to sleep on your back. I'm like, oh, well, I'm fucked.
I fall asleep on my back. I never wake up on my back. I'm always on my side. I actually have a mask.
I mean, that time we slept together. Okay. It's awesome. You stayed in one place all the time.
I have a CPAP machine.
You told me about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I hear people that use it love that shit.
Yeah,
I
sleep
saw an
without
interview with Jack Black. He has one too, apparently.
Oh.
He uses one. He's like, he can't sleep without it.
Yeah.
He's like, I think I'm gonna die without it.
It's great.
Yeah.
And plus, I was a snorer.
Yeah.
So Katie sleeps like a log now because your mouth stays closed because you can breathe like this. You don't have to open your mouth to breathe.
Right.
So I'm quiet and.
Wait, she's a heavy sleeper or no? Yeah, right. Or would she wake up?
She's pretty heavy.
Would she wake up?
And she's hard of hearing.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
So for me to wake her up means I was fucking sawing logs, dude. Yeah. So the CPAP.
When did that start? Does a log saw really sound like a snore?
I guess.
Yes.
Sawing logs.
What am I supposed to say?
I could just cut it when I said
Here we go home.
So bad. I'll cut it before that anyway.